New Year, New Me is not just a saying anymore, it's reality. It's 2026 and men and women are fully embracing and sharing their new reality. They're dropping their 2025 shackles and exchanging them for their newly found freedom. And by that, I mean...
Divorce, babe, divorce.
The divorce effect. Is it simply women and men walking out of marriages and then posting TikToks that showcase how divorce gave them the ultimate glow up? Or is it something bigger?
What if I told you that that glow up isn't caused by divorce?
Women and men across the board reach a point where they said enough is enough. They stepped away from relationships that weren't working for them anymore, and with that new sense of freedom, something interesting tends to set in: motivation. Motivation to get out of the house more and be social again. Motivation to take better care of ourselves, doing our hair, moving our bodies, eating better. There's also motivation to do better financially, whether that means going back to school, finding a better job, or putting real effort into growing a business. And in that way, the season of 2025, when a lot of women were being sold the idea of the perfect tradwife lifestyle, came to an end.
I'm not arguing with the bitch who doesn't have a fucking Roth IRA. All these tradwives in my comments like, oh, my husband gives me an allowance. Good for you. And in exchange, you wash his dirty ass underwear. I don't do that.
Some people reduce divorce to surface level things, like women not trying hard enough to look good for their husbands, or offering what some online call a budget experience while married. The truth is, looks actually have very little to do with divorce. I think this influencer couple that's currently making headlines because of cheating during their marriage is a perfect example of that.
So Desmond Scott is speaking out in response to the news that broke yesterday that his wife Kristy was filing for divorce for alleged infidelity. He took to his Instagram story to share a couple words. Let me go ahead and read you what he wrote. He says, "I want to begin by apologizing to Kristy, our family, and everyone who has been impacted by the public attention surrounding the situation. I know this news has been disappointing for many, and I'm truly sorry for the hurt it has caused. Kristy is the mother of my children, and that will always come first. I remain fully committed to being an active, present, and loving parent to our boys, as I've always been. Kristy and I faced challenges and made sincere efforts to work through them. Towards the end of 2025, I wanted to separate, and I had conversations with Kristy regarding this. During this period, I made choices that I'm not proud of. I took responsibility for those actions. I shared this with her directly and personally, and ultimately we decided to divorce. Honestly, y'all, any divorce is sad, and they just celebrated their 10-year anniversary last year, so they've been together for a while. Not to mention they have children, and they've shared so much of their life over the years."
She is objectively gorgeous and very well put together. She also seems fun, confident, and they genuinely seemed like a nice couple. And yet, despite all of that, her partner still cheated. And she's not the only one. There are plenty of influencer couples that prove the same point. Women who are well put together, gorgeous, confident, doing their Pilates and drinking their water, and it still doesn't save the relationship. I mean, take Wizard Liz as another example. Really good looking, yet still got cheated on. The crazy part is how the narrative changes no matter what. If she doesn't pay much attention to her looks, people say, well, of course he cheated. She let herself go. But if she does take care of herself, everyone's suddenly shocked. He had all that and still cheated. And it just shows how shallow the thinking about relationships online really is. People assume that being rich, attractive, or successful somehow makes you immune to betrayal, and that if a woman is less attractive, cheating is almost expected, as if looks are what glues a relationship together. Another thing that people rarely mention about public figures and their relationships is that making relationships public can put a huge amount of pressure on it, and that pressure alone can be enough to crack it. When your relationship is public, everyone will have an opinion. Every argument, every rough patch, every change gets watched, analyzed, and commented on.
No, why?
Yeah, you do. I got all these coffee syrups. I'm cleaning out the bottles.
No, what?
Huh?
Don't clean up this kitchen.
I can't see.
Why are you holding the first bottle? Like, why don't you sit down so you can have one thing to focus on?
And it's not only the couples that are public that are affected by public opinion. It is also those that allow a lot of people into their relationships, for instance, friends or family members. While their opinion matters, at the end of the day, they are just people and are capable of giving bad advice and even projecting their own issues. And hey, I'm not saying relationship while looks are the most important thing don't exist. Trophy wives are alive and well. The idea of not working, marrying into wealth, and enjoying that lifestyle is still very much alive. Many women choose it, prefer it, and even pass it on as advice to others. But as multimillionaire husbands are still minority and beautiful women are still a majority, I think it is safe to assume those relationships relationships are not to last forever.
So y'all want to know the scariest thing, and it's happening to me now, is being a female, married. I'm 37. I have 2 kids. They're 5 and 7. And I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 10 plus years. I have no income. I have no money. I use my husband's credit card and I use my husband's money. And 2 weeks ago, he told me that he wants to move forward with divorce.
In some relationships, traditionalism and religion go hand in hand. There's often an expectation that one partner, usually the woman, handles everything: the chores, emotional labor, childcare, and even managing social obligations, especially if the other partner is working. And there are literally couple influencers teaching you how to honor and submit to your husband.
22 years ago, Tommy cheated on me when we were dating, but I wear that as a badge of honor, not an open wound. Because what the enemy meant for destruction, God has used for good, the saving of many lives.
Those words used to carry shame, guilt, and regret. Now they carry redemption, healing, and power. Because that wound didn't stay a wound. It became a weapon against the enemy.
The thing is, these kind of relationships, when one partner is expected to do it all without support or recognition, while the other is praised and respected no matter what, almost always lead to frustration, resentment, and burnout.
I refuse to let him carry the weight of provision, leadership, and protection without my support. We're a team. I've got his back always. My words, my tone, my attitude will honor him. I won't tear him down. I build him up even when no one's watching. I'll pursue him, affirm him, and remind him he's still the man I chose, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
And I feel that a lot of the divorce effect videos we see online show women coming out of exactly these kind of relationships, giving and giving, pouring all their energy in, and getting very little in return. More and more people are realizing that this dynamic just isn't fair. And honestly, we can't blame women for walking away from partnership that drain their energy and leave them feeling unequal or unsupported.
I just feel like you could have been nicer to me.
Oh my gosh, well I feel like you could have done 80 more things today than you did. I feel like I woke up and I cleaned our room, I did our bed, I cleaned the sheets, I did the laundry, I put your clothes away, I come in the kitchen, nothing's done. So I do everything, then I make you breakfast, then I get the baby ready, then I get myself ready. And what do, Michael? You just tell me I could have been nicer. That seems pretty nice to me. And you thought it was pretty nice last night. Super nice. Woo!
Damn.
And then there's almost the complete opposite of the servant-wife dynamic, the princess treatment takeover. In this case, one person in relationship, often the woman, is constantly pampered, indulged, and has every need met, while the other partner, often the man, is expected to provide, serve, and pay in order to keep the relationship going.
Bare minimum or princess treatment? Okay. Holding the door open for me.
Bare minimum.
You're right. Tying my shoes for me.
I do that. I'd say it's princess.
That's bare minimum. Paying for my nails.
I do that.
Yes!
Okay.
In this dynamic, the expectation can shift from partnership to transaction. You will constantly find videos online teaching women how to find a man who will take care of them in every aspect of life, down to things as small as ordering food at a restaurant. Also, they can remain in their feminine.
If the waiter addresses you first, I will simply just look at my husband and my husband will order. Again, you don't need to over-speak, over-exert yourself.
Constantly giving, providing, and going above and beyond to keep their partner happy while receiving very little in return can lead to a lot of resentment over time. And while at first it might seem cute or feminine, over time it can become exhausting, especially as the relationship moves through different stages of life, throws real challenges your way, and real problems that you have to solve. When there's no one to turn to for advice or support, it stops feeling like a partnership and starts feeling like a one-sided responsibility.
I'm going to get yelled at for saying this, but princess treatment isn't romantic. It's a socially accepted way to avoid being an adult in a relationship. We have raised generations, including the Disney girls, on love means someone is going to come save you. That's not a partnership. That's just fantasy. Because psychologically, it keeps you stuck in arrested development where you continue to act like a child with your partner.
And while we've talked about both extremes, one partner as a servant and the other one as a receiver, there's also another dynamic that's becoming more visible, the girl boss dynamic, paired with what's often labeled as the loser boyfriend or husband. We've entered a time where women have the same opportunities as men, and for years they've been encouraged to be independent, ambitious, and financially secure. So that's exactly what many of them are doing, and some are excelling at it. But in some relationships, husbands are either unwilling or unable to keep up with that pace. When growth becomes one-sided, it can quietly shift the dynamic, affecting respect, attraction, and ultimately the stability of the relationship. And the issue here isn't really the woman or the man. We've progressed enough to accept women working, owning businesses, and climbing the ladder, but we haven't quite matured to be fully comfortable with situations where the woman is the more successful partner or the main breadwinner and the man is guys less so. That dynamic still makes a lot of people uncomfortable, sometimes even the couple themselves.
Men face the pressure to be like super successful, and I think when their woman is successful, and sometimes in other people's eyes even more successful than them, they almost feel judged for that. And I think it creates pressure in relationships when like their friends are like, oh, your girl's paying, like, oh, your girl has a nicer place, oh, your girl this. And so they feel pressure to be successful, and almost it causes strife in a relationship where like you almost butt heads career-wise, which is the first time in my life I've ever dealt with that. But I also get it, because men do have this like insane pressure to be successful, and women, for some reason, people don't expect us to be successful.
And it's not hard to see why. Society is quick to label men as losers if they're less successful than their wives, reinforcing the idea that a man's value is tied solely to his status or income. On the other hand, many wives aren't particularly happy with this arrangement either. Some women openly admit they wouldn't date or stay with someone who is significantly less successful than they are financially.
I don't want to date somebody that makes less than me, because what can that person teach me? I want somebody to come in and say, hey, I can teach you the crypto. I can teach you this. I can teach you digital marketing. Whatever it is that this man's going to teach me, I want an asset, not a liability.
Another trend we're seeing online is the glorification of the divorce and single life. People are posting comments like, these videos make me want to get a divorce and I'm not even married. Women are embracing single life, choosing not to have kids, and celebrating independence. Meanwhile, many men are hesitant to get married at all, seeing it as not worth it because they assume women will just file for divorce anyway and take half of everything they own.
In your early 30s and single, girl, it is amazing.
It's hard to ignore how much influence online trends have. Everywhere you look, people are bombarded with dating apps promising endless options.
I wish that girls understood that it's always a better man. Like, there's always a better man, I'm telling you.
Plastic surgery ads promising you will never get old.
Botox saved my life.
And social media showing curated, idealized lifestyles. Young people are constantly pressured online and told, where is the ring? As if marriage will magically make their relationship more meaningful or give them more stability.
I love when girls are like, me and my boyfriend been dating for 5 years. I love him so much. Has he put a ring on it yet? No? Okay. He's still looking for the love of his life.
The result of it all is a loop we see reflected in the divorce effect. People marry, then divorce, glow up, then marry again, then divorce again, and glow up again. It seems like a cycle fueled by societal pressure, online influence, and a constant push for personal growth.
I am crashing out so hard. And I think that's been the scariest part of this whole thing, is the fact that I feel like I'm back at ground zero.
No matter how much people try to glamorize it online, divorce still sucks. It's draining emotionally and mentally, and while it's important to show that life can improve after leaving a toxic situation, divorce itself isn't something to strive for or celebrate. It's just shit that happens, and we got to deal with it and hopefully learn from it.